Gen Z is killing marketing.
I don't know where you heard that. The Gen Z conversation is, I just wanted more growth opportunities. So I applied to be a community manager, not knowing nothing about this thing.
Businesses on social media are creating content to entertain, educate, and to inform.
It's almost like how with Nike, you don't see them saying this shoe is 1,000 rand. Right. They've given up on selling at all. But I started off with Rocco Mamas. I went into Deal or No Deal, The Masked Singer. Just because people get paid to do things, it doesn't mean they're good at those things.
Word.
Like Karabo Poppy, right? We want her because she has this thing. This thing you can't find on ChatGPT. You can't find it on Canva. Therapy. People think you need to go to therapy when your life is falling down. No. Lots of yap. Let's see.
Let's start with Hi B, how you doing, Daniel?
I'm good. How you doing?
But I'm chilling like a villain.
Same.
Yes, sir. What do you do, Buffet? Welcome back to TMC podcast. So we're the brainchild of some super cool millennials who love to talk about technology, creativity, almost with a sprinkle of everything else in between. So the other day I was reading stuff on the internet and I came across a line that was like, Gen Z are actually killing marketing, and there's things that brands need to do in order to survive, right? So to help us unpack this topic, we have actually invited some dope partner manager, like doing some really incredible work. And I think one of the amazing things about her is that she was recently nominated as the finalist for the best agency community manager. How do you feel about that? I think we're superstar.
I mean, yeah, it's cool. I think it's very affirming when people are like, hey, you do this thing very well that you thought wasn't important, So it was really cool. It's very nice.
Okay, doesn't it make you cocky though when you approach the people you work with, I guess, or other people who do what you do?
No, because awards are all subjective. So it's kind of like they think so, maybe other people don't think so. It doesn't make me better or worse than anyone.
Yeah.
It's just acknowledgement.
I love to hear that. So basically, on this episode, we will be talking about the transformative impact of social media. So over time, social media has changed so much from just being a place where we would, study like a mixed where we would just share text, and then it moved into Facebook, we would share pictures. But now it's becoming a place where brands actually sell. To get started, let's first look at, the evolution of social media for somebody considering to actually explore a career in this space. What are the available options?
Cool. It depends on what you're really good at. So if you're cool, like with how you speak to people and things, you go to copywriting, you go to maybe even public speaking in things like that. And if you're good at bringing ideas to life in a visual aspect, then you go into the videography, the creative director side of things. So it's just about finding what you're good at, finding people around you who can make sure that you're actually good at this thing, and then just building from there. So it's very versatile. You can literally do anything.
It really feels like you've done everything in social media, honestly, But before we get started, Buffet, at TMC we have culture, and we usually play an icebreaker, right? So this one we're going to do it differently, where it's led by our director Msizi. So we're going to play a trivia. Msizi, care to explain the rules, and let's kick it off, man.
All right, cool. Hi guys. How are you doing?
Sir.
Yeah. So the icebreaker for today is called TMC Trivia. It's basic general knowledge questions about South Africa and some parts of the continent. So the rules are simple. Wait for me to finish reading out the questions and then call out your name and I will recognize you. And obviously whoever has the most points will win.
I'll prove why I got 100 in geography.
Lots of yap.
The sharp.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Question 1. What is South Africa's national animal?
Boity.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, B?
Springbok.
Nice one. So
Okay.
point to B. Number two has got 3 answers. You need to ensure that you get all 3 right. What is South Africa's capital city?
Guy.
Boity.
Guy.
Oh.
Yes, sir. So we have Pretoria,
Okay.
we have Cape Town,
Uh-huh.
and Devon.
See, if you get all of them right, you get the point.
Okay. So it's Pretoria,
Yeah.
Cape Town,
Yeah.
Bloemfontein.
Yep.
I heard Bloemfontein, I was like, nah, maybe.
That's where the low people are at.
Uh,
Yeah.
2 points to B. What is the largest organ in the human body?
Guy.
Wait, you're just saying your name for fun.
It's the lungs.
Skin. Lungs.
What local brand slogan is Share the Joy? Is it A, Simba Chips? Is it B, Nando's? Is it C, Cadbury? Or is it D, Coca-Cola?
Guy.
Yes, Guy.
Is it not like share happiness, share the joy? I think it's Coca-Cola.
Wrong again. B.
It's definitely not Nando's. I really feel like it's A.
None of you got it right.
I really,
Okay.
Cadbury.
I knew it.
really feel like
I was
it's
thinking about
giving
Kit
us right
Kat.
now. Yeah.
I just like, where have I seen this font?
Yeah.
And they did a campaign with that song, yeah, the Soil Joy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Which African country is known as the land of 1,000 hills? Is it A, Kenya? Is it B, Ethiopia? C, Rwanda? Or D, Malawi?
please repeat the first two.
Is it A, Kenya? Is it B, Ethiopia? Is it C, Rwanda? Or D, Malawi?
Kenya.
Incorrect. Guy, redeem yourself.
I would say Kenya. Did you say Kenya?
Oh,
I did say Kenya.
okay.
So it's Ethiopia then.
No.
Batungam
It's C, Rwanda.
Njani.
Yeah.
All I think about Rwanda
funny.
is
Yeah,
the hotel.
I
You know
know.
the hotel movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Guys, the last one. This is the
Ah,
last
man.
one.
Can I,
Guy,
even
redeem
1 point?
yourself.
Even 1 point?
Guy,
Okay.
redeem yourself.
Okay, so
If you can get this
in
one.
geography. guy. Where is it?
Which country has the shape of a boot when you
Boiti.
view on the map?
Sorry, wait.
Yeah, Boiti, you can go ahead. Let me give you the options.
No. We've got this.
Okay.
We need to grow up.
A, Somalia.
Okay.
B, Egypt. C, Morocco. Or D, Tunisia.
Where the heck is Tunisia? I say the first one.
5-0. B wins the
Somalia.
TMC
what was the
trivia.
first one? Somalia.
Somalia.
Yo!
Because I just know that it's northern,
Yeah.
that side.
So,
And I
guy,
know the boot is where the Africa goes.
yeah, we're done.
Thank you.
Ah,
I just
fair
want to
too.
thank my mom for making me take
Yeah,
geography.
ish. We need a TMC trophy.
Okay. This is where we zoom in and then we hear the inspirational music. I just want to thank. Oh, and it's a globe. Let's
Yeah.
put Africa in front. I just want to thank myself, my brains, and my education. Thank you.
Do losers also get to do a speech?
No, they just cry.
Back to the order of the day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So a lot of people are probably seeing you for the first time, so let's just track back and speak a little bit about who you are, like briefly where you grew up and the things that kind of like inspired you to get into like, the social media space.
Okay. Well, my name is Boiti, aka Boitumelo. I grew up in a lot of places, but I was created and introduced to the world in Rustenburg, very close to Tlabani, which is like a township. My family's that side were all just Tswana people making it through life. And then from there, with all this moving, I just found a love for just people. Like I really wanted to go into psychology because I enjoyed, those random psychology facts on Twitter and also just generally understanding people and why they think the way they do and why they do the things they do. So I would just create videos. I was the photographer of the family when I was growing up. So I already had a thing of like, this needs to be this way, this needs to be that way. And like, I'm very technical. So I was like literally breaking pens apart, trying to understand how did they put this together. So I've always been very analytical. So when I started social media and I realized, oh, when people see my stuff, I can check why they searched it. I can see where they saw it from, things like that. And I was like, oh, how do I make these numbers increase? So when COVID came around and everybody was like, oh my gosh, you speak well, start a YouTube channel. I was like, okay, cool. So I went and I just learned everything I could about YouTube because I was like, well, I need to start this YouTube channel. I'm getting bullied to start this YouTube channel. So the whole of COVID, I'm just here learning about the analytics. I'm looking at things that matter from SEO perspectives, just doing that the whole time. And then eventually I just know too much about this thing that I don't need. So then after COVID, I went and I was really cool with the people at school because I studied corporate communication. And I was just in a lot of clubs because I like things. And one of the career center people was like, okay, cool, there's this job at this place. And they're looking for someone who can do 1, 2, 3, 4. So there were jobs there. So I applied to be a community manager, not knowing nothing about this thing. I was like, I can do this. Community is my thing. I like people. People are easy. So I was not taken for that. They were like, hey, do this test about YouTube. Create a YouTube video, upload it, optimize it, and then send it to us. So I did that. I got the job, and the job was YouTube and SEO assistant.
Yeah.
So from then on, I just used the knowledge that I got during COVID. I used a little bit of the PR that I learned in varsity. And then, yeah, now I'm here doing marketing stuff by accident.
Did you always want to be in marketing?
I actually wanted to be a doctor. Actually started with actress and then doctor, specifically a cardiologist. Wanted to operate on the heart. And then it just went into wanting to be a director, to marketing, to a lawyer at some point. So I'm pretty much everywhere, but there's always this common thread between everything where it's just like community, And yeah.
Have your parents always supported you spreading your wings and trying out whatever that you found exciting?
I don't think I actually experienced any pressure growing up. I was one of those kids who was in their room like 24/7, and then I had good, like, what's the word, role models in my family. So like my grandma, she works in economics, or rather she worked in economics, and she was like working with big people like Petres Motsepe. She was lecturing at Fort Hare and in Canada. So those were the role models I have. I have my aunt who's a doctor. So it was more a thing of like, they provided that thought of you can do things if you want. So I never really felt limited or anything like that. My parents were just like, you're great, do whatever you want. But it's like also limiting in a sense of like, I say I want to be an actress, and they're like, actresses don't make money in South Africa. Or I want to be an interior designer. It's like, they don't make money either. I want to be a doctor. But there's no support in terms of like the tutoring and the math and things like that. So it's like, even though you're encouraged in terms of energy, there was no encouragement in terms of resources. So yeah, that's still limiting in its own aspect. But with what I'm doing now, I don't think they really know what I'm doing, but they respect that I figured it out. One thing my dad will always say is, I don't know how you did it, but you figured it out on your own. And I'm like, same, here we are though. So yeah, when I say everything was a mistake, I actually mean I didn't plan anything. Everything was just like me following my gut, and I think just trying to align with me and my values.
Not so long ago, you mentioned that you first applied for a community management job.
Yeah.
But it still found you later, right?
Yeah.
And I think, like I mentioned in my intro, that you were shortlisted as like for the best agency community engagement award. Talk me through that.
So it's actually funny. So when I left the place that I used to work at, I joined this other company because I just wanted more growth opportunities.
Yeah.
And when I joined them, I was supposed to be a specific role, but they needed a community manager more. And they were like, listen, we can train you to be the role that you've applied for and things, but we want you to just focus here for now while we figure out, getting this person. Because they could see that from the interview that clearly speaking is a skill that I have or something that I prioritize. So I joined, I did that for a bit. I started off with Rocco Mamas. I went into Deal or No Deal, The Masked Singer. So I did all of these clients. And in doing that, I think I approached it in a way that's not conventionally known because I was coming from nothing. I had no idea what this thing was.
So you're winging it.
Exactly. Exactly. So I'm winging this thing and I'm getting recognition because nobody else is thinking from where I'm from.
Yeah.
They're thinking from a more reactive perspective. And I was kind of pushing for this proactive. Finding conversations, even where we're not mentioned, like with Rocco's, it would just be like lunch. I would search lunch on Twitter and then just be like, you should come through. Or I'm hungry at lunchtime. And I'd be like, well, it's a good thing we deliver. Things like that people don't necessarily think I have space to be there.
Yeah.
So I just made the space, to make the hours.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And I think more than anything, sometimes it's not about the skill in itself, but it's something that cannot be taught that I think you have within you, and that is like this proactive energy, and it feels like it has propelled you to like better and better and better heights in your career. So is this something that you were born with, or did you learn it somewhere along the way? What would you attribute that to?
The curse of the growth mindset. I actually don't know. I think because I was in my head like an only child, even though I was the eldest, and I was in my room all the time. I think I just got used to just doing. Like I'm bored. Okay, let me watch a show.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do right now. Okay, figure something out. Like I just found answers in the silence, basically.
Yeah.
And like when you do that, you kind of get used to doing.
Sure.
And then at some point, like I would not be able to like on holidays just sit at home. I had to get a holiday job because I needed my brain to keep going. I needed to grow because I needed to live a life in my head.
Yeah.
And to get there, I needed to do these things well. Or just do these things, we can make it well later, but just do the things.
Yeah.
So I think it was just a thing of like, I am entertained by doing more things. And then I just keep striving for that entertainment, I guess. Yeah.
Love to hear that. And being recognized by the New Generation Awards, it's no small feat. And it kind of like makes me wonder what that recognition would do for your career. Is it something that kind of like gives your portfolio a little bit more gravitas?
I haven't seen it manifest itself, to be
So
honest.
awards don't matter.
I mean, yeah, awards are just about
Overrated.
Yeah, it's just about affirmation. It's subjective. It's not a true medium of comparison. It's like the BMI index for like
Okay.
weight and stuff. It's like it's something that was created in somebody's mind, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. It's
Yeah.
all a theory. So awards always have a bias. And so because of that bias, I don't take them very seriously. I appreciate them. And I'm like, oh, thanks for acknowledging me. Because obviously that means somebody else is going to be like, oh, you
Yeah.
got this, what. But from an intrinsic perspective, it doesn't really do much for me. I'm at the awards to eat the food and meet new people. I think that's the actual win.
Yeah.
Meeting like-minded people who might just, join you on your journey someday in the future.
Yeah. So let's talk about this, right? When we started, I said we were going to unpack the fact that Gen Z is killing marketing.
I don't know where you heard that.
Hootsuite marketing report. So they were actually suggesting that Gen Z is killing marketing. Not that it's killing marketing, but this can actually be interpreted in many different ways. Maybe they're bringing new ways of marketing, or maybe like the traditional marketing is dying and taking a different form now, where Gen Zs are thriving. So what's your take on that?
As a Gen Z, I think the Gen Z conversation is, in some way, it is a rebirth, I think, like a Lazarus effect, if you will, where it's like we had these normalities around certain things, and now we're coming in and we're saying, you're wasting a lot of time on this thing. Nobody cares about this thing, but you think this doesn't matter, but it impacts things. Like when you get a job interview, you are going to go on their social media and like see, oh, are these people serious? Especially with marketing. If your page as a business doesn't reflect what you do and your skill set, it kind of decreases your reputation in my mind. You know what I mean? So now it's just a thing of we have to cater beyond the basics. We need to care more about how they find us, what they care about, who they are, but we also need to make sure that we don't dilute our brand message or who we are just to meet them. Like even at the event that I spoke at, I was like to them, some brands are doing things that are trendy. So it's like, why are you doing TikTok dances, but you're a property company? You're doing too much of the trends that you're losing yourself in it. There's still a brand tone to be maintained. There's still your clientele to be considered. The Gen Zs are not paying for anything right now. Granted, they're going to be the future, but they're not paying it for right now. Rather use avenues of teaching them about property. Dumb it down. I always tell people, there's so much potential in the world of dumbing things down for your audience because they see you as a credible source as a result. So Gen Z is just challenging people to actually think. You can't just use the formula forever. You actually have to think. You can't rely on parties or data or whatever anymore because of the cookies and things and the laws around that. You actually have to know who you're speaking to beyond the 3 personas in your marketing strategy.
60% of marketing teams dilute the brand message just to be relevant, right? So like you were saying about you're a property company, but what are you doing dancing on TikTok? How relevant is that to what you're actually selling, right? But also in the same breath, I don't think that social media is a platform to really sell. As you might have seen, like probably like 80% of businesses on social media are creating content to entertain, to educate, and to inform, right? So do you think that in a pursuit of being relevant on social media, it is it even that bad that brands are actually diluting their brand message or going against what the brand actually stands for?
I think the issue is that people don't know what they want to do. So if you don't know what you want to do online, you're not going to know how to tailor it to what you're supposed to do. So the issue, like I said with the TikTok dances, is that people don't know the landscape well enough to apply to like be like, these are our goals and this is how we're gonna reach it. Da 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 da. They're too focused on, like you said, the relevancy of like, okay, if we do this, we stay in the sphere. Okay, if we do this, we stay in the sphere. But it's like sometimes you don't have to meet people that don't want your content. Sometimes you just need to give good content and the people will find you. The problem is that people don't know how to be unique. They don't know how to be themselves. They don't know how to tailor themselves to the people that they're speaking to because they don't know those people. They think they know those people, but they don't know those people. They don't know who they are. They don't speak to them. One thing about community management is that you actually interact with people. That's why I think every brand should have some level of community management to get insight, beyond a survey that nobody wants to fill in. Like, hear their concerns, see where you want to meet them. Do they maybe like not want to walk all the way there? Do they maybe need a delivery system? That's the new SWOT analysis of the world. Listening, not just,
Because it feels more like copying for
yes,
virality more than
exactly.
anything. And then if a brand is not like really copying what's popular for virality, they are selling, which is also annoying on social media.
Too much promotions, not enough connecting.
Why can't we sell?
You can sell, but I think it's the approach. You have to be smart with it. It's like any advert, it's like anything. You just need to create almost an atmosphere, almost a world where people understand that you're a person who sells, that you have bills to pay, that you're a brand that pays salaries. But at the same time, they see that you're trying to give them what they need. It's almost like how with Nike, you don't see them saying this shoe is 10 rand. It's like, it's always like, with us, you can do this. It sells opportunity. It sells you a vision of who you'll be in collaboration with us. The problem is that people just want to throw it into your face as if you've never seen it before. They're not taking into consideration that maybe you're open to this, but you need to remind them why they even cared in the first place. Like, why did I have that McDonald's burger? It's not because it's good, it's because it reminds me of things. Tap into that nostalgia and that emotion and that almost seamless feeling of, I care about this and I should just go.
That's like the mechanics that definitely does work on socials, because if you think about Red Bull, they do have like promotional material, but not on social media. You go on Red Bull, TikTok, Instagram, you would find some of the sports that they sponsor. It feels like they are selling experience more than the product. But on TV is a different story where you find them selling Red Bull gives you wings, right? So that feels more like a direct promotional piece, right? So would you say, well, I mean, I also get that you need to like really prioritize selling on TV because there's like such a huge budget and in such a short space of time that's allocated to that, whereas on social media, you can also go organic and do it like over time since it's like a long-term game. Is it like a platform thing? Or even when we look at like platforms outside social media, should we probably consider ways to inform, entertain, and educate over selling?
It goes back to the goals chat.
Yeah.
Know your goals and make a connect. Because at the end of the day, social media is not a place for selling. It's not for conversions. It's for brand awareness in most cases. It's about reaching an audience in a way that's like more cost effective, I guess,
Yeah.
especially if you have that following and people are there. It's just a little gateway, especially when you collaborate with influencers, you collaborate with other businesses. It's a very visual place when people don't want to go all the way to your website or all the way there.
Yeah.
So I think it's a balancing game. You can't just sell to people. You need to let them know that you care, that you're a person on the other side of the camera, that you're someone who actually wants to meet them, so that when they give you this feedback in the comments, it's coming from a place of please grow,
Yeah.
please do better, instead of just like, you guys never listen to us. I hate you, because comments mean that you've awoken something inside of them, that they feel like you're going to listen, you know.
Yeah.
People don't comment on things that they don't think you're going to listen to. And if they do, it's most likely because you didn't listen anywhere else.
There's been so many brands that are trying to leverage creators' attention to their to their benefits. Like for instance, a creator would put up a post and a brand would jump into the comment section to make a totally unrelated comment, just to be either controversial, to be funny, or to bash another brand or the creator, whatever it could be, right? I think if you are, especially as a brand, right, because you want to maintain like a high level of reputation, if you're going to jump into the comments of a creator, it needs to add to the conversation, like something somebody will actually look at and feel like this was necessary, right? And I see a lot of brands are really going against the norm just to spark a conversation, whether as long as it's controversial, as long as it will make people talk. I see Nando's do that a lot. Domino's, is it Domino's? Domino's Pizza? I see Domino's Pizza actually does that quite a lot lately. And I think it's off, man. It just doesn't sit well with me. I feel like brands should find ways to be more creative and create attention out of originality, instead of like jumping on other creators' comment sections so that they can leverage, the attention that they've worked so hard for. Do you think that's like damaging to the brand, or it's like any attention is good attention?
All publicity is good publicity because it's more, but like in terms of reputation, I think it's kind of telling that it kind of gives us this desperation thing that you want to
Yeah.
just hop everywhere, like what's going on.
But you know what I'm talking about.
No,
Do you
100%.
see it?
It is a strategy that people used to use, just to kind of bring that brand awareness, kind of like what I'm saying about proactive. But remember, with the proactive, I'm connecting. It's a food brand, and this food, let's solve this problem. But this thing, like you said, this thing of them just commenting everywhere, I mean, not to bash, but for example, with Nando's and Domino's, is it Domino's that you said, or Debonair's? Okay, yes. With them, or rather with Nando's directly, imagine they don't give me a job. But with Nando's directly, a lot of their advertising isn't centered around the food, and it's also not centered around the experience. It's just fun marketing. You know what I mean? So obviously, we're not going to expect them to kind of draw that string to the food because they never do it. And if they do, it's like an afterthought. So like with brands like Duolingo, they'll comment in places that make sense, especially because their brand has evolved, especially on TikTok, where they've gone from being a language app to being entertaining, speaking about their law people. Like they made it fun, Duolingo was commenting on Dua Lipa's post, they did it in a way that's still connecting, especially because their brand is so big, but also tasteful. Like when you see them there, you're like, oh my gosh, Duo. Duo is the little birdie on the app who bullies you to remind you to learn your language. So seeing that personality on the app makes sense. You're just like, oh, Duolingo's finding me everywhere. And also the comments are always fun and playful. They're not controversial, like you said. It's more about like, remember we exist, more than it's me again.
Because I saw this tasteful comment on a Nando's post. So this was, I think it was Pedro's, but this was like a direct competitor of Nando's. They actually commented, "You know more about politics than you seem to know about chicken." You know? And I thought that was so unnecessary.
But true. It's like, granted, I don't know if Pedro's has good advertising. I don't really care much for it. But one thing that I feel like South Africans know is that Nando's is not selling us anything. Their name is it's giving Oprah. Oprah is gonna give you this. You already know. You're gonna go there, there's chicken. But it's like they've given up on selling at all. They're just hoping that they'll have that, what is it, brand recognition. They're literally sitting on brand recognition, spending money on brand recognition. I don't think they even care about conversions online at this point. I don't see ads of Nando's. I don't see it. It's just brand recognition translating so that when you're hungry, you're like, what is something that's gonna give me this like lighthearted feel? It's like the associations we make end up translating into us going, because this family, when they do adverts, that makes sense, and they have chicken. It's like that chicken looks so good, but they're not selling chicken most of the time. They're just selling that we're like friendly, we're nice. This is our image.
With the quest for attention, you will obviously find brands doing more. So doing more, I mean, they would be posting volume content. So they prioritize like, okay, guys, let's do more content so that we can, people can see us. So hopefully, like the logic is, if one post maybe could be kept to like 10 impressions, and then if we put like 100 a day, then that will push us to like 10 times 100, like 1,000. I get the logic in that, but there's a downside to it when it comes to quality, right? And I think quality and quantity never existed in one bucket, right? So do you think with businesses, when they're actually trying to, like play in, like on socials, should they focus on volume or should they be focusing on quality? Because you can really do like small stuff or little things and do them like really well, or you can do like a bulk and really suck at it.
Well, it goes back to what I always say, experiment. Not everything works for everyone. Like, for example, the brand that we used to work together on, they sent out a lot of content at some point and it worked for them. Red Bull sends out a lot of content and it works for them. But in other aspects, especially if you're a smaller brand and you don't have necessarily that kind of expectation to posting doesn't make sense. It's like you're wasting resources for poor quality that people are already not receiving, you know? So it's about like, what are they working with? What do they like? How do I make this happen more? It's about looking at the analytics and being like, okay, it seems like they respond to gamifying content. Let's double down on that. Okay, cool. They love this. Let's try and move promotional content into that in a way. So it's about linking the things that people like to your favor at the end of the day. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about like Gen Z preferences when it comes to social media. They spend a lot of, like they're the biggest consumer of social media, and they, without a shadow of a doubt, the future of our consumers. What are the things that you'd say they prefer?
I think something that I realized when I was preparing for my talk is that they really value emotive things. So, like whether it's in a graphical context, in a video context, they really enjoy feeling something, feeling connected, feeling like they're relating to something or that they can share an opinion on something. So, it's all about engaging, it's about connecting and meeting them where they're at. In doing that, you kind of, I don't know, you kind of personify your brand, and then they like you because of that, because you're more than just, I don't know, a billboard somewhere. You're like something that's like, oh, I like what they stand for. I like their values because I see their values. Before it was all about, here's your list of values. I hope everybody listens to that.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, they do this thing. Oh, that's so cool. It aligns with me valuing this. Oh, they do this. Because it's less about the CSI and more about the aligning with who they are and amplifying that. So yeah, it's that for me.
So do you think like they actually search for relatability in stuff that they find on socials?
I mean, everything you find on social is a guide. Like most of my Instagram is just social media advice because I don't know, I've lost interest in people's personal lives. But I think you need to start somewhere. I mean, if people enjoy this relating to your brand, then you do that more. It's kind of like what I said. If people are looking for a therapist, they're going to come to you. And if they see that, oh, you align in this way, you prioritize this, then, ooh, I'm going to, probably try you out, check your email, follow this kind of user journey to see where you're going. But yeah, they've also said that the Gen Zs have just changed the whole user journey thing. So like when things used to be from like finding the brand to doing this to doing that to that split of like, do they go to the email, do they sign up for this, or do they just hop into that? Now it's more like a thing of like keeping their attention, you know, like from day one, are they impressed by what you're doing? Like if you're a graphic design company, you have to go, like your graphics need to be good. You know, your portfolio needs to be more upfront than it used to be, where people go into your website and see your portfolio. It needs to be there, you know. So they go there, they see, oh, this is cool. Oh, they provide this thing that I'm interested in. Oh, they tell stories that I'm interested in. You know, it's like putting little bids around everything that you do so that the people that you target kind of have this reminder that, oh, this person, or rather this brand, is still consistent on every platform. I can be loyal to this brand. When I go to the store, when I see them online, it's the same brand. You know, it's like that dove effect of like, when I see the adverts, when I see the lotion, everything has this synergy. I mean, it's different, but it's that synergy of this is one brand. I think a strong brand is a brand that actually succeeds.
I feel you. So now that we know what they prefer, the Gen Zs, can we talk about the things that kind of like are not working, right? You've been in social media long enough to know what works and what doesn't. So what are the things that you feel when you see on social media, you're like, nah, you guys have lost the plot. This doesn't work anymore.
Kind of back to the trending thing, people using gimmicky words. So there's a billboard by a brand in Sandton that is very visible, and they they
What's the brand? Are you afraid they're not going to hire you?
Yeah, no, this one I would love to work for this brand. But you can see that they have more budget than creativity. So they're always morphing to what's happening right now instead of actually saying, this is what we want to do. You know, one thing, I understand that budgets change, but relying on flexibility, it just dilutes the message. You know, it's like you're trying so hard to meet us that you're losing who you are. Like, even with a different show, there was an Asian show recently released, and there was this brand, they put a tagline, Kidizemba boss. And there's no synergy between that. I understand it's December, but saying Kidizemba and you have Squid Games, where do we intersect? Just because your target market is going to watch this and they're black and they're African, doesn't mean that that lingo
Are you
fits
talking about
in
that
there.
Netflix billboard in Sentin?
I don't know.
Okay,
Maybe.
okay.
The thinking
Next,
is genius. The
Yeah, yeah,
execution is
absolutely.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they've had many interesting relevant things. I think the flexibility is great because it works to trends, and you know, you can use this billboard all the time. You can change it to what's yes, but in doing that, it's kind of like it's exciting because you don't know what you're gonna see, but it's also like, hmm, you guys have money. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you know, you guys don't know what to do with the money. Can we help you?
Yeah.
Call me.
Can you share the money, please?
Yeah, let's do things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of off-putting because it's like the bigger the brand, the less you see the brand. It's too tailored to the goal that it forgets the consumer, it forgets the brand itself. So it's just like, let's hope somebody bites on this. It's too much hoping for money. That's a lot of money.
We see brands waste a lot of money on marketing that does not lend. And that's why we're like, guys, please give us the money.
Yeah.
But in your opinion and your experience more than anything, what do you think brands should be doing a little bit more of in order to kind of like lend or connect with the future consumer? That is the Gen Z.
They need to firstly invest in the right people. I was literally telling my grandpa because he took his car to get painted and they didn't mix the colors the right way. I was like to him, just because people get paid to do things, it doesn't mean they're good at those things.
Word.
Exactly.
Word.
Yeah. Why are hiring processes not making sense? Why are people being promoted when they're not supposed to? Because the resources, the expertise is not there. They just have people. Like, if I have a person doing this thing and I don't have a person above them, but I need someone to do more work, I'm going to promote that person, not because they earned it, but because there's a gap, you know, like the conversation of juniors that we were having now about being a junior person. They will make you a senior, not because, you're amazing at your job. It's because we need a senior.
Yep. And
And
you've been here long enough to fill that
exactly.
gap.
And hopefully I won't have to increase your salary too much. You know what I mean? So it's a conversation of like, more people need to invest in not just quality, but people who know their shit. Because we're too focused on like, we need to churn this out. We need to show
Excuse my French. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. This
Pardon.
is TMC podcast and fair too. We do it how we like it. Yes, sir.
But yeah, no, it's damn. I forgot what I was saying.
We were actually talking about recruitment.
Oh yes, recruitment.
Yeah.
So huge. But it goes back to what I said. Everything just goes back to goals. Why am I hiring this person? Can they fill this gap? In the end, you realize you didn't even know what you needed as a business. And so you just hired because this person studied graphic design or they studied this. But do they align with what you need from them? When you see their portfolio, does it fit into what you need for your clients? It's not all about the qualifications, it's about the vision. It's about the flexibility they have in the way that they think. Because once you are taught things in school, you can't assume that everybody's going to want that same thing. They just want you because they assume that you at least have the basis that they can manipulate to kind of give them the results that they need. But how do you manipulate something that you don't know? You're just out here churning it like a weed, whatever you guys use, a grinder.
Crusher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're just out here just moving this person left and right because you don't know which way to go. All you know is that they need to be in your pocket, and that results in quality not being there, because sometimes people don't want weed.
I mean, Gary Vee speaks about this quite a lot, about hiring fast and firing fast. Yeah. He says hiring fast and firing faster, right? So for people who actually run startups or even in business, people who are responsible for recruitment, what do you think they should be looking for and where when they bring people into their organizations, especially for social media?
Yeah. I think a quality that everyone should be looking for is adaptability, because for example, I went from community manager to where I am now, and that's because the skills just needed to be nurtured. It's a lot of people say this on social media and on LinkedIn and things like that, where CEOs are like, it's not all about what they have. Steve Bartlett also said this. It's not about what they have. It's about what they're willing to do to get, higher in certain things. So if a person is willing to say, okay, cool, I know this, I get feedback, this is not personal, it's helping me grow. It's that growth mindset of like, it doesn't matter what happens here. What matters is what I do with what happens here. It's like exposure when you're working with creatives. It's like sometimes you actually need to start with exposure because you're going to flop. Would you rather get fired or have someone say, oops, it's a good thing we don't pay you? You need to start in a place of this safety, and when you hire people, you need to create that space of like, okay, cool. I need to hire someone who's willing to learn. And I need them to be ready to learn what I'm willing to teach. Yeah. And so I should have a framework for that. And then when I see these people, where am I going to find them? LinkedIn, Indeed, word of mouth, everywhere. You need to find people, but you need to find people who are willing to vouch for someone. Because I feel like vouching is huge because you're speaking on me when I vouch for you. So I think that's the best way. Find people who know people, but also don't be closed-minded just because you don't know a person's potential. Because people think that, especially in Joburg, the creative scene is very cliquey. Yeah. Like Cape Town is cliquey in terms of who you know, but Joburg is very cliquey because the creative space is tiny. Yeah. And it's not tiny because there's not a lot of creatives. It's because those creatives reuse each other. Like even with TV in South Africa, you'll see the same actors. That's the same thing with like social media with creatives.
Even
they just
influencers, like it's the same influencer doing 10 different brands, some unrelated to their content.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they keep, like, it's good to share the pie, but they don't share it with more people. They just have their plate and they use that plate every single time because they know that plate will work. Because other people, they say, I can be your plate. And then they come through and they break. Because they don't want to invest in themselves. They think when I get there, psh, I'll figure it out. I'll wing it. I'll da 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 da. But it's like you need to be shy. You know when they used to say be shy, be shy. Walk into things with an open mindset that things are gonna go wrong, but don't be that person who thinks, I learned this in varsity and they said this. It's like a lot of people didn't go to varsity and they're doing better than you.
Trust.
Yeah, don't lean on the gown. The gown is not coming with you to the office.
Right. Now you have the
Literally.
degree and you feel like the degree is supposed to do the job for you.
That's the thing. Like in your curriculum, did you work for this company? So why do you think you know what they need? You know? So varsity is just for context. But what you use that context for is important.
I think it's really hard, really, for recruiters to find the right people, right? And this is simply because the right people are very hard to find. The ones who already know what needs to be done in order to be discoverable, they do it very well. They keep improving on it. But for somebody who hasn't really figured out what is it that they need to do in order to be found, they know that I'm 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 willing to learn. I'm very adaptable. Um, what is it that they can do? What are the spaces that they can play in order to be found by recruiters?
Mm. The way that I find people is very, I like to think of, I like to approach people organically. Like, I'll literally see people that I've seen on social media that are doing amazing things, but I don't like people putting people on a pedestal because I don't know if what they put on social media and what they do and what they think is all the same thing. Some people have, what are they called? The writers, ghost writers. So you need to find out if they're the ghost or the writer, if they're actually knowing what they're writing, what they're saying, and things like that. So when you hire a person and you know what you need from them and you know what you want to create, and you know what you can do very well, I think it's just about trying to immerse yourself in that world. So a way that I would do it, not intentionally, but it works, is I would make friends with people and I would be hanging out with those people. And then I'd meet their friends. And then I'd meet their friends. The only reason that I meet these people is because I was there to just chill. I think the issue with a lot of people is that, especially people who are desperate and creative and they need this to work, because they don't have anything else. All they have is their rap lyrics or their camera that their mom gave them. That's all they have. In doing that, they'll be sitting with you. You're just chilling and they'll be like, oh yeah, so like, I have this thing, what. Oh, who have you worked with? Man, I'm just starting. Oh, do you maybe have a portfolio? Yeah, yeah. It's like you're ready to work, but you're not ready to show that you can work. You're chasing the money, but you're not proving yourself. And that's the horrible thing about adulthood. You'll have the education, you'll have worked with these people, but if you don't have the proof, not just in the writing, but in your experience and what you say, then it doesn't matter. If somebody asks you a question right now about what you do, you need to know or you need to make sense from a perspective that you think you know. I always tell people if you're going to say that you don't know something or you do know something, people need to at least understand what thinking led you to that point. If you believe the world is flat, you better have the reasons, you know. I will only respect you if you have the reasons. Stand behind your beliefs, and then people will see that in how you act. And so because I just have a huge thing about community. It's like my core thing. So when I'm around people, I like, listening. I like being there. It's not because I'm trying to one day work with you. It's because I enjoy what we have in common. I want to connect with you. I want to understand where you come from. Sometimes I'll be sitting with people and there'll be like 5 people appearing out of nowhere, shaking this person's hand. And I'm like,
Who
the
are you?
heck? Who are you?
Yeah.
Like when you're not here, what do people see you as?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But you don't need to care about that until you need to care about that. People
Facts.
need to stop using each other. And that's a huge Joburg thing. Like girlies will go to the club together and not speak together when they get home. There's no I'm safe. It's just like, girl, are you free today? I'm hosting. So that kind of mindset of like, I take, and I give you sometimes is the reason why we don't have that camaraderie of like, hey guys, this is my friend, he's really good at what he does. It's more like a thing of like, I know someone, they might be good. They did this thing once. Like, he's a photographer. Have you seen his page? And then you look at the page and it's not what you need for your brand because they're not showing the range of what they can do. They're just showing parties, even though they do other things. It's like, you need to consider the fact that people are going to see you somewhere. Like, this is your personal page. Okay, cool. Your personal page needs you to make money to have a personal page. Like, be realistic. Be real in your real life. Don't rely on social media to be real.
Be real in your real life and don't rely on social media to be real. Quote of the day, Mfana. Yes, sir. Check your bean. Till this day, I still feel like creatives underuse LinkedIn, right? So, like, what I mean is, no cap on LinkedIn. At least every month, I get 3 or even 4 job opportunities, right?
Must be nice.
Yeah, like legit. You
You have the paid
sometimes I
version?
feel no. It's a free
Aw.
version. My perspective has changed around how I look LinkedIn as a social media. And it's more of like a portfolio for me, where if you do it well, you will be discoverable by recruiters, which is something that we're still talking about. You will be discoverable. And we just don't teach this enough, or we just don't take it serious enough. Do you have share the same sentiments about the platform?
I do. I see it more from a perspective of, because I've once I found LinkedIn, I was in it. I don't even know
Right.
why.
Yeah.
I just found it so interesting.
But it's
that,
like you have that personality. Once you find something, you like dive deep.
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so once I found LinkedIn, we learned it in high school, and they were like, "Yeah, your LinkedIn profile up." I do this thing where I just connect with random people. But it's also it's back to the community thing. I just want to know what people are doing. I want to see where they are. Like, LinkedIn is the perfect place for homework. When you can't go to all these webinars that you randomly find online, you're just like, oh, this is someone in my world who does things that I do. Where did they work? How did they career progress? It makes your journey more realistic. You have the context of like, okay, this person started as a janitor and now they're a principal. How can I maybe use this to meet those people? It's a guiding place. And I recently worked with this artist in his rollout for his album. His name is Bailonsta.
Oh, I saw that on your LinkedIn.
Yes. He was releasing this album called The Chip is Stale, and it kind of explores conversations around mental health and aligning it with, your old car. So we would just speak to, how do we bring that to life? How do we do this? And right now, he can take all of that whole rollout, that planned out thing, that intentionality, put it on his LinkedIn and translate that I use my brain when I do things. I'm not waffling. I have strategic. So LinkedIn, as much as it seems like it's for the corporates, the finance bros, it's for people who want other people in different worlds to understand them. Because your portfolio isn't for the people that know you, it's for the people who don't know you. The people who haven't seen you. It's your CV. I think one thing that creatives do not see the value in, and that they should, is having a portfolio. And it's having a portfolio that shows what you did. So copywriters, I don't know how they do it, but you need to show people, hey, I did this. I created this. This is the result. People are too busy saying, I did this. What did you do to benefit the brand? You're doing it for exposure. Okay. And then what happened? You can't just sell skills. You have to sell, I can give you these results. And that's how you become competitive. And that's how you go onto LinkedIn, and that's how people find you. Not everything can be word of mouth. Not everything can be a 2D page of what you've done. Sometimes it has to be actually, oh, you did this with this brand. You increased their revenue like this. You increased the impressions. Even though it's not converting, the fact that you can have an impact on data and people says a lot about you as a person behind.
And
the
also, like,
screen.
it also demonstrates that you understand why, like you said, why you do the things that you do.
Yeah, you
other than
know
just
your
waffling
stuff.
and just like putting stuff out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
an expert.
One
You're
thought?
charging as an expert. Act like
Right,
an
yeah.
expert. Show that you're an expert.
Show
Like
your expertise.
literally, that LinkedIn picture can't be the only thing professional about you.
Yep. The bio can be the only professional thing about you.
Yeah, you and ChatGPT, girl. No, that can't be the first thing people see about
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
You know, because
yeah.
everything can be AI'd. Show them what novel skills you have, because that's how you're going to keep a job at the end of the
Love that.
day.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Speaking about AI, actually, let me pack this. I'll talk about it like at a later stage, Yana. But no, actually, no, I can't pack it because I'll forget it. You're speaking about AI, just back to social media. I think a lot of people are scared today that AI is taking jobs, especially creatives and some photographers. Like, there's a lot of people who are feeling unsettled about the advancements in AI. And what I learned was that sometimes you really need to apply yourself and use AI to help
Propel you.
instead of using AI to write content for me. I use AI to actually uh, craft strategies that would land or relate to the people that we speak to as the brand. So this is how I did it, right? I had like a spreadsheet of like company reviews. I think they were in the thousands, right? I think I had like 5,000 reviews. I took those reviews as they were in a spreadsheet. I didn't have time to go through them one by one. I put them in AI and I was like, hey, ChatGPT, can you please bucket these reviews and give me a summary of what they are about? It was so, so mind blowing. It bucketed them in 4 categories, right? Things that I never, ever even thought about. But and now my marketing for that brand is actually like revolving around these 4 buckets, right? It actually gave me a new idea about the people that we speak to, what they care about, the spaces where they spend a lot of time, and exactly where they're trying to get when they engage with us as a brand. And from that, I can actually speak to AI to help me actually meet these people halfway, in a way that they can still feel like we are allowed to actually have our own opinions about the brand or about the product. And the product is also changing and adapting to, the things that we actually need in order to thrive, So, and I think AI is great, but the way that people are using it is so backwards and lazy, you know. I thought I wanted to share this because you brought the idea of AI up. But yeah, I mean, AI has changed my life. I'm not gonna lie. And I only realized that once I stopped asking AI to write content for me, but to help me craft strategies that are going to help me craft content that actually relates to the message that I'm trying to, put out there. Do you use AI? How do you use it? Do you think it's stealing jobs, or do you think it's just an amplification of what we can do, or maybe it's just like making us more efficient as creators?
Yeah, no, definitely efficiency. I think people who are scared of AI are people who aren't diversified. So if you're worried, for example, with artists, that's hectic for them. You know, you can just go into AI and be like, create this thing in this way and what. For them, they're stressed out because something can just be popped out. But it's like, why is that the only thing that you can do in in your industry? You know, you should have different things around you that kind of make you more attractive to a business to use. Because as much as AI is changing the game, but it's because you as an expert are providing context. You know, like at the talk that I did, there was this expert there, and he was like, AI can't steal your jobs because it doesn't have the knowledge that it needs to be you. You know, at the end of the day, the kind of frame of thinking that we have as experts in our field, that should guide the AI. It should guide the voice. It shouldn't be a thing of like, give me this about this. When you see these captions, when you see, because one thing ChatGPT is give you emojis. Those emojis, are they working with what you're going to say in your content? Are they connecting? You know, is this thing considering SEO? Is it like considering, you know, that it's going to be on this platform, that it's speaking to this brand voice, that it's going to do this, then, and no, that's why we give the context. Because even if you say, hey, make copy for this thing, it will never be in the way that you would have done if you had to do it. And that's where the originality comes from, of just crafting this thing, making it in a shape that will meet the goal that you know you're trying to meet. I mean, it wastes time 100% to come up with things from your own brain. Like, yeah, but it's like there's a reason that your brain is guiding this thing. It just makes it easier. It's kind of like having a conversation. That's the beauty of AI. It's not complicated, it's just about communicating effectively. You know, having a place where you can trust delegation to happen effectively. Because telling another person, you're wasting time, there's noise, there's communication issues, there's this, that, barriers. But if you're just talking to this app that you use on a daily basis that knows your tone, that knows how you move, it removes all that time of waffling, of just emails up and down. So if you use it to save time, you're doing great. If you're using it to be lazy, like you said, to have all these jobs, it's like, where is your integrity? Where is the creative in you if you're relying on AI to replace you? And if you are relying on it to replace you, then were you even valuable in the first place? You know what I mean? It's so an integrity thing. And it's kind of like, what are you focused on? What is your goal? What are you doing? Are you using this time to grow in other aspects? What? It says a lot about the person, basically. But I think in terms of like creating copy, very helpful. You give it your talking points. That's something I do. When I have to create copy, I give it talking points. I watch the video, me, the human. I watch the video, I come up with points that I think people are going to care about. And I say, crafted in this way with this tone. For that previous post that I made for the same brand, make it make sense and also tailor it for this person. You know, once you give that context, then it gives you as close to possible what you probably would have taken 3 hours to create. So, yeah, it's just speeding things up and also just dissecting your brain a bit easier.
Marketers have ramped up their production by 80% with the use of AI. And I think maybe it's okay, right? Because it frees up more time for us to be more creative. Because like if I know, for instance, I can create like content for the whole month in like one day with the help of AI, doing it the right way, right? Not compromising the integrity of the brand, then it means I have the other 15 days to think about other creative things that I can do to push the business forward. You know what I mean?
The concern is you becoming redundant because of that extra time. You losing, like, a lot of people charge based off hours or like, you know, how much time you take, whatever. So I think that's where the job aspect comes in, where it's just like charging. How are we going to charge you in a way that makes you think that we're still valuable? You know, it's kind of like that whole move from graphic designers to Canva. Why do I need that graphic designer? Oh, because they have this, like Karabo Poppy, right? We want her because she has this thing. This thing you can't find on ChatGPT. You can't find it on Canva. She has this thing. So it's just about having a thing that somebody is willing to pay for and making sure that it's going to actually have those returns in the future, that you capitalize. So it goes back to the whole thing of like, who are you? What do you want? What are you trying to do? And how do you make it important enough for it to translate across all the different threads that you might create in the future? You know, if you're going to go like Karabo, shoes, bags, wada. But there's this core that you know is her.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
You can't miss it.
You can't miss it.
You can't find it anywhere else than Kukarabo Popi.
Exactly. You won't find McDonald's fries at KFC. You know, even though you want KFC, you want McDonald's fries, you go to McDonald's. Whether the food is fake or not, you
Salayo.
want McDonald's fries. Get your fries.
Quickly, V, what are like which brands do you think are actually nailing social media?
I've been in my Formula One era, so
Oh, yeah?
I'm very much there. People might think I'm gonna say Mercedes or like Ferrari or stuff. I think a brand that's doing really well is Kick Sauber. I don't know if they're still Kick Sauber, to be honest. They just be changing names for no reason. But the way that they do things is so interesting. Even what's this other team? It has Yuki Tsunoda. The point is that
Yuki Tsunoda.
he's
It's
in
like
the
Alpine.
the blue. No, the other one. It's there was Alpine. Now it's like Visa something, Visa RBB. It's the baby Red Bull. Yeah, it used to be many names. The point being that this brand, the way that they approach it is so fun. You know, they have the TikTok trends, they do all of these things, but they do it in a way that makes the drivers human. You know, because on the racetrack, that's 2 hours of them just going. You don't know this person, you don't know their story, because on their socials they might not be any kind of personable, they might not be fun or anything, but there you're like, oh my god, you're doing this, you're doing a dance, like you're doing things. That's where trends kind of work, but also not every trend, not every audio, not every da, da, da. Like remain having that integrity, because even though Kicksauber was losing and doing poorly, it's like the fact that they're willing to meet their people, like the comment sections, they reply to everything. You know, the content is coming through. I follow them and I don't even support their team, you know, because I was like, you are a brand that's going to serve consistency. And I like that. I like that when I get this, I know. But a lot of people evolve. I mean, look, Sam Smith was here and then he went there. Beyonce was here and she went there. So you can only hope that they stay as consistent as possible for as long as possible.
I mean, with things changing, it's kind of very, very hard, but we hope. Who else?
Okay, so there's Kicksauber. And then, what's another brand? I like so many brands. I don't even know what to tell you. Somebody that I think is great at like just consistency is Kim Kardashian. Love her loads. But from her house to her different franchises, whether it's makeup, whether it's collaborations with Beats or whatever, the colors are the same. The aura is the same. You know that it's her. It speaks through the stuff because of that brand alignment across the board. So I think a brand like hers just speaks to, you don't have to be loud, you don't have to be doing trends. But as long as people are comfortable with who you are and what you represent, you can sell that in many different ways. She's selling colors, not even quality. She's selling colors. She's selling a flair of elegance. She's selling lifestyle. She's selling herself. You know, it's like, you want to be me, you want to have this aspirational content, get what I get, you know? And then another brand is Emma Chamberlain. She used to be a huge YouTuber. And now she has this brand called Chamberlain Coffee. Because one thing in her YouTube videos and vlogs, coffee, coffee, coffee was just her thing. She would try different coffee spots. You know, she would wake up in the morning with her vlogs, have coffee. Like, it was just her thing. And so when she transitioned into having her own coffee brand, huge. You know, now she has her own packaging. She has her own brand. She has her own store that she opened recently. And her page, it connects to her because she's so about, you know, she worked with Louis Vuitton because she has this eye for things. And now you can see that eye manifesting on her page as Chamberlain Coffee. It's crazy. She's doing things that other coffee places don't do. Like Starbucks, where are you?
Starbucks.
Like, where are
please,
you?
please show yourself.
Where are you? Is Starbucks in the room with us? Like, and you can't even say it's budget. It's you not
Who's
investing in the right
Starbucks?
things.
Who's
Exactly.
Starbucks? Yeah.
Like, you too busy with
Didn't
your
they close
pumpkin
down?
spice latte. I didn't say that. You busy with your pumpkin iced latte. She's out here creating a whole lab setup showing coffee that it doesn't have to make sense. You know, it just has to make sense. You know, the people who get it, get it. And the people who get it should be the people you're aiming for. And hopefully other people who
Yeah.
trail behind.
And many more brands that are nailing it, right? So B, I think we have actually overstayed our welcome, studio. But anyway, we're gonna wrap up. I
Kicking
think
us
I have
out.
2 more points to cover. The first one is, let's talk a little bit about the you know, the things that you feel like creatives can actually take advantage of in order to, you know, get ahead in their careers. This could be like a website where they can learn something new. It could be like places where they can apply for jobs. It could be like a new tool that's out there that is really like not a lot of people are talking about, but you know that it can help them create magic. So basically this section, we call it the plug.
Oh.
Yeah, so teach us something that we can actually use in real life.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're just gonna waffle and see where it takes us.
Alrighty.
But I think something that has somehow shaped how I see things, how I interact with people, how I find my peeps is going to these events. You know, these free events, these 200 rand events. Like next week I'm going to a climate change event. I don't even know why. But the fact that a part of that is documentary filmmakers are going to be there speaking about storytelling. You know, just show up. You know, nothing. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Nothing is too good for you. Okay? Show up. Be around your people because sometimes people actually just go because they're coupling a friend. Next thing you're meeting someone like in WeWork, um, which is a place that I've worked at before because they have co-working spaces. But I was there with a friend, and while I was there, he knew some music people, and they saw him. They're like, "Hey, bro, what?" In that greeting, they were like, "Oh, we're having an event," you know. And I was like, they were like, "Yeah, pull up." Okay, cool. Just to give you context, this event was for the Africa Creative Agency, which manages Tyler and Nasty C and Cynthia. What's her name? Cynthia. You know the actress. She's so funny. Um, Maybe Cynthia Buthelezi. I don't know, but she's this amazing lady, like Pearl Tusi. Like they have really cool people, and the only reason I was in that space was because I had someone who knew that space. And the only reason he was in that space is because he came with me to WeWork. So it's kind of like align yourself with people and you'll be surprised by the kind of alignments you find in the journey. Just show up. You know, you lose nothing from showing up. Once I went to an event alone, and literally when I was like about to turn onto the street, I was praying because I was like, I don't want to be around these people. I don't know these people. But I got there and I met these. I don't know if you know Ikawe magazine.
Ikawe, yeah, I think
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
So I met Renee, I met Anastasia, you know, because I asked questions and I found them so cool. And we followed each other on social media and I got to experience more of what they do and I got more inspired. And when I see them events, I saw them at the TikTok Awards, I've seen them in different spaces. And it's like, you'd be surprised how just showing up will connect you with people who are so inspiring, who are so good at what they do. But because you're at home and you're like, this is not really my niche. I don't really like that person. It's like, it's not about liking, it's about learning. You know, you don't have to like the people you're around. You just need to understand how they think and how they move to really be like, okay, cool. Maybe if I try this, I could emulate something similar, you know. Maybe if I do things more professional like this person, you know. I'm seeing this person like the girlies, they have their magazine. It's so serious, like they're printing. They know everyone, like it's crazy. But they're also very personable people where if you ask them, they had a mic. I asked, where did you get this mic? They answer. You know, so these are people and it's just about meeting them in ways where you don't really expect, you know. Like even if you meet celebs, don't jump, don't scream. These are people. Like I don't know if you remember. I love this. Well, I don't love him, God bless. But I really like this artist named Manana, right? And at that ACA event, he was behind me in the line and I was just saying some crazy stuff. And I was just like, yo, this is not the real me. And you know, in my head, I didn't even clock, oh, this is, you know. And in that interaction, you have a genuine, you know, interaction where maybe someday you'll see each other. Maybe one day you'll just wave. But it's like it helps you, it humbles you in a sense of like, this person is a person. And if they can do it, I can do it. And maybe one day you'll be the one helping them. Maybe one day they'll be helping you.
And it's so funny how genuine it feels when it's on a human level. You know, I get what you
Exactly.
do, but that's not why I'm talking to you.
Yeah,
You
what
know?
you do is not who you are.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
knowing who a person is, you'd be surprised how much that does for people who do really well. That you're seeing past what they can give you and you're seeing who they are. You know, because especially with being a creative, you change so much of yourself that you end up forgetting who you are. And so when people are like, oh my gosh, you drink Fanta Orange, it's like that changes something in that person. That's like, oh my God. That's why I love First We Feast interviews because they look at something that other people don't look at. They don't bring those repetitive questions of who are you dating? Who are you with? It's like you started this band in grade 11. Why? You know, it goes into who you are and gives you a space to like be a person. And I think that's huge. Just be a person and show up.
Being a person in this world is so hard, B.
Is
And
it?
I think that's why everybody needs to pay more attention to their mental health. Doesn't this feel like an ad for like an ad for like some
Better
mental
help?
health app? Yeah, better help. But anyway, we have 5 minutes to talk about mental health. Social media is such an overwhelming space, right? Especially, you know, with things changing so rapidly, and sometimes agencies feel like they need to move very fast, you know, and they don't really care that you are feeling, you have like some mental health issues or you're feeling overwhelmed. How do you balance that, like to make sure that you maintain that, you know, high level of performance while still taking care of your mental health? Because I think that's really, really important to keep you going.
Yeah. In our beautiful world of burnout, I'm lucky enough that the company that I work for right now does listen in terms of like, if I'm overwhelmed, they're like, okay, cool. We won't overwhelm you as much. I mean, granted, the overwhelm still happens, but it's less, you know. It's more cater to you as a person. So if you don't have that space, I think therapy, people think you need to go to therapy when your life is falling down. No. Therapy is there to be a backboard, a bouncing, spot so that you can like share ideas, maybe be like, this happened and I feel like I'm going crazy. And then be like, well, from what you've told me, this does make sense. It's not a person who's biased, not someone who'll make it about them, but it's a space to be understood. And also seeing that other people in your industry have the same problems. It's more like it goes from, oh, I'm blaming everything to how do we find this common solution? So it might be very overwhelming, but sometimes you just need to be around your people to see how they did it. Like with the Ikawe girls, the way that my question was actually about imposter syndrome, and they told me their solutions because they've been there. And that kind of makes you feel like, okay, cool, this is going to go away. I just need to push. Sometimes you just need to see that other people pushed.
Yeah. But Fed, the takeaway is that it will go away. You just need to push from this
Or it's
episode.
not going to go away and you just need to adapt.
You know what I mean? I hope you really did enjoy this first episode of season 4 with Boiti. You bought the fire, girl. I don't think there could have been any better way to start this. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us. We are really, really, really honored. And we are rooting for you, man. Anything that, you will be embarking on in your journey, we know that you've got what it takes to win.
Amen.
Because
2 or 3
winners
agree.
win.
Hallelujah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So yeah, in the comment section, please engage with us. Let us know what is it that you have taken away from this episode. B, finally, do you have like a question for our next guest?
Ooh, exciting.
Yes, sir.
If you had all the money in the world, would you still be doing what you're doing?
Oof. There we have it, Buffet. Too. This is TMC Podcast, the brainchild of some super cool millennials who love to talk about technology, creativity, almost with a sprinkle of everything else in between. So please do us a solid, hit the subscribe button, like the video in the comment section. Please engage with us. We love doing this. And don't forget to let your friends know that you are a part of the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Share.
Peace
Thanks.
out.
Bye.